Hello again, coming to you from this lovely home that definitely isn't mine. Figured it was nicer than looking at a white backdrop. Boy, what a week so far, huh? The first of three presidential debates happened last night. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if we can handle another two. But we're not here to talk politics. What I wanted to document this week was some of the reading I've been doing from a series of books. Usually when it comes to finance and economics, I tend to jump around a bit. There's often lots of sources cited in each of these books that will sort of take me down some rabbit hole before I find my way to back to whatever I was reading in the first place. So I kind of wanted to follow one of those paths and see if it made for an interesting video. So here goes. Okay, so it began with the book The Dhandho Investor, which I've been reading over the last couple of weeks. This is a book by Monish Pabrai. Very interesting guy. It's a great book. What I especially appreciate about this book is the writing and the examples used are very straightforward. It's a very accessible book. So it's sort of a great starting place for anyone that's looking for a book on investing. In it, Pabrai outlines three key ideas from another book, The Intelligent Investor, which is sort of the seminal book on value investing by Benjamin Graham. One of those ideas that he outlines is the parable of Mr. Market in Benjamin Graham's book, The Intelligent Investor. If you haven't read this little parable, it's worth a read. It's about a sort of fictional character used to personify the financial markets, primarily the stock market. This character is depicted as sort of a emotionally unstable friend. The example given is someone with bipolar disorder, unable to control big emotional swings, and a switch may flip on some news, and Mr. Market's disposition can reverse just as quickly in the opposite direction. So it turns out what Benjamin Graham describes as an analog to financial markets is actually part of human behavior. Our brains are sort of hardwired for this kind of behavior. Several years later, the work of Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky really help explain the science between behind this hardwiring. Kahneman's book, Thinking Fast and Slow, another really great read about behavioral psychology, behavioral economics. I reluctantly read it in grad school, but I'm very glad that I did. I was blown away. It begins with a sort of simple framework of the mind, two systems of the mind, and then describes several different biases and heuristics that our brain has developed over the course of its evolution. Turns out our brains are super lazy and can be not very helpful sometimes. Exhibit A, the illusion of control. This is where we sort of focus on what we know exclusively and neglect or even block out what we don't know. And this tends to make us overconfident in our beliefs. And what this does is it sort of creates this self-reinforcing cycle where we only allow information that confirms our worldview to pass through. You can see how this would be a huge problem if you're trying to invest your money. What makes it even more challenging today than back when Graham came up with this fictional character of Mr. Market is that today we have really powerful algorithms that are recommending information to us based on our past behavior. If you think this isn't a problem, then you probably didn't watch last night's political debate. So this seems bad. Bad for my ability to be confident in my investments, bad for democracy. So what can we do about it? Well, this hardwiring of the brain is why mastering investing is about learning to control yourself at your own game rather than trying to beat the market at its game. Over the long term, there's lots of data to suggest that the latter, trying to beat the market, is just not possible. So, how do we control ourselves at our own game? Can this predisposition of overconfidence and blind optimism at times be overcome through training? Well, Kahneman gives us what he calls a partial remedy. Drumroll please. Introducing the pre-mortem. The pre-mortem comes from a Stoic exercise, which I'm not even going to try and translate this from Latin. Well, I'll translate it, but I'm not going to say it in Latin, I guess. It's translated to the premeditation of evils. The more modern interpretation of this is known as inversion, or just considering the opposite of what you want to happen. It's a fun little thought experiment. It's a super valuable skill in any profession, I think. And if you look hard enough, you can find examples of it in art, literature, technology, all over the place. In this context, we can run a pretty quick creative exercise to help us see what our brains are not letting us see when we're trying to make a decision about where to allocate our money. So let's say you're planning to invest in a company. I looked at Asana last week, so that's a good example. Let's say I've spent all kinds of time getting to know the company's software, the executive team, their track record, and now I'm excited to buy. Before investing, what we can do is run this thought experiment by imagining that we are now several years into the future after making the decision to invest in Asana, and everything has gone terribly wrong. Let's say the business has gone bankrupt. Now what we have to do is use our imagination and write a summary of what happened, what went wrong. If we've really done our research, then we'll know some of the risk factors and arguments against investing in Asana, which we can use to get the creative juices flowing a little bit. In fact, in S1, there's even a section which is sort of a function of this thought experiment. I believe it's called risk factors, or often called risk factors. So this may sound silly, but I run this exercise at work all the time for projects, and I'm now just now starting to incorporate that into my process when choosing investments. So we'll see how it goes. I think I love this quote from Charlie Munger. I think he sums it up best. Many problems can't be solved forward. So in other words, they need to be solved backwards or upside down. Whatever works. So there you have it. The key to success. Think backwards. I hope this was interesting. I had a lot of fun putting it together. I'm going to add links to the books I referenced in this video below. Take it easy for the rest of the week, I guess. I'm going to work on another video probably at the beginning of next week because I'm lazy and I don't know what I want to document yet. So, have a great weekend and bye for now.